Hey guys, Paradox here, and I'm back with another episode of the Duel Networks. Sorry about that, adjusting my mic. So, this deck, wow, just looking for someone that I said it would, looks like he's not on. So, this is a frog deck, and this is just not a very good deck, so I'm probably not gonna win. I just don't know how to make a frog deck. I'll just set a tadpole. I really hate this lag. Okay, so what did he do? Spicy curry. Yeah, that's really it. Wow, frogs must be really good or something, because that guy quit just because I used the effect of one card. So, this is... It's a frog deck, there's not much to talk about. Let's see. If you guys have ever been on, which I'm sure some of you have, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Great card creator, I'm making a fantasy deck. So, I've got all of my main monsters done. Oh, I've got the wrong deck. Gotta remember to set this as default ahead of time. Anyway, I'm making a fantasy deck. I suppose I could scroll through my monsters I've made. Minimize that and that, and I'm not sure if you can see this. Can you? Yeah. Well, while we wait for this to load. So, it's an archetype called Paradox. Great. Well, now we have time to go over this. Might as well. This deck wasn't really much to show anyway, but if you guys can make a good frog deck, I'd love to see it. So, when this card is normal summoned, special summon one Light Paradox from your hand or deck. When this card and Light Paradox are in your graveyard, special summon one Wuji Paradox from your hand or deck. And the reason for that is Wuji is the absence of yin and yang. So, you know, I thought that was really cool to do. So, just as a heads up, all of the Paradox cards have, except for like the Synchros and the Fusions and stuff, have this first section of effect that special summons a Wuji Paradox just with their own counterpart. There's one Paradox for each attribute. So this card can only be destroyed by a monster with less attack. When this card battles a monster with more attack, destroy that monster instead of this card, and your opponent takes the battle damage you would have taken. So it's pretty cool. Then next we've got Earth Paradox. Now instead of calling it like Wind Paradox, I called it the Heaven Paradox. And this card's defense is always 1,000 higher than the monster with the highest attack, so that's cool. Fire Paradox. It's a union, so you can equip this card to any Paradox monster. When you do, the equipped monster gains the attack. The equipped monster gains this card's attack, defense, attribute, and type. So that'd be really cool, because then like a Dark Paradox would become a Fire Pyro Tuner. Plus it would get a boost in attack and defense. So the Heaven Paradox. Now I picked this is like a space cloud. I don't know the sciencey name. It's like something Nimbus, but I picked it because you can kind of get the outline of a person here. Like you've got this arm, and then here's another arm shape. You've got this little head here, kind of, yeah. So it's Winged Beast, you know, blah blah blah, Earth Paradox. This card's attack instead of defense. By the way, most of the counterparts are opposites as far as their secondary effect. So this card's attack is always 1,000 higher than the monster with the highest defense instead. Light Paradox. Now, with this guy, instead of your opponent taking the damage, you gain life points equal to that damage instead. Here's the Perfect Paradox. It's a fusion of the Time Paradox and Space Paradox. This card can only be summoned by returning the above fusion material monsters to their deck. This card can only be destroyed if your opponent has at least one of each attribute except Divine in their graveyard. This card's attack and defense are equal to the combined attack and defense of the cards used to summon it. When this card is destroyed, special summon the cards used to summon it. Now this is interesting because of Time and Space Paradox effect. Space Paradox. One Dark or Light Paradox plus one or more non-tuner monsters. So this guy's a little complicated. Once per turn you can switch life points with your opponent. Once per turn, during your standby phase, if your opponent controls more monsters than you, take control of the one with the highest defense. Its attack and defense are switched. You can only activate one of these two effects per turn. If you do, this monster gains 1,000 attack and defense. You take no battle damage or effect damage from battles involving this card. This card cannot attack. So next we've got Time Paradox. 2 level 4 Paradox monsters. Once per turn you can detach one Xyz material, select one card in your opponent's hand. This card gains effects based on it. If it's a monster, this card gains that attack and defense. If it's a spell, you put this in your spell and trap card zone and treat it as that card until the end phase. If it's a trap, you destroy all cards in your opponent's spell and trap card zone. So water, same thing as the fire, except its attack and defense are flipped. Wuji Paradox. This one's cool. So, when this card is normal summoned, special summon 2 anti-paradox tokens. Spellcasters, Dark, level 1, attack 100, defense 100, in defense position. These tokens cannot be destroyed by battle. This card's attack and defense are equal to the number of turns it has been on the field times 300. You can substitute this card for any Paradox monster. So that's cool, because you can substitute it for a Time, a Space, a Dark or Light, or just any one, because then its level would count for that, and that's also going to be useful for all the other fusions I'm going to make. And that should be it, but yeah, that's it. So, tell me what you guys think. I'm still making some more extra deck cards, but what I really need are some spell and trap ideas, so email them to me or whatever. And since this thing sucked, I guess this film was brought to you by, well, this presentation more than anything, was brought to you by Paradox Productions, and I'm gonna go make some more fake cards. Bye.